Welcome to my channel States of History. There are moments in war when courage doesn't come from training or rank. It comes from the heart, from the raw fire of a soul that refuses to break. This is the story of Lieutenant Emma Hayes, a Navy medic whose hands were meant to heal, not kill. But fate has a way of turning healers into heroes. It was 0300 hours when the radio crackled with panic. The SEAL team was trapped behind enemy lines. Their extraction had failed, communications were down, and the medic was the only one left at the forward post. Emma was patching up a wounded Marine. His pulse was faint, his breathing uneven. The sound of gunfire echoed from the valley below, then silence. Complete and terrifying silence. She froze for a second. Her heart pounded. The SEALs were gone quiet. No one goes quiet in a firefight unless something's gone terribly wrong. Hayes, report, the commander's voice broke through the static. Sir, I've lost contact with Alpha Team, she replied, her voice trembling slightly. Stay put. Reinforcements are en route. But she knew what that meant. Too late. Reinforcements were hours away, and the SEALs had maybe minutes. She looked at the Marine she had just stabilized, his blood-soaked bandages, the pain etched into his face. Then she looked at her medic bag, the one she'd carried through every mission, the one that defined her, and she made her choice. She dropped the medic bag. She grabbed the rifle, and that's when the SEALs went silent no more. The night air was thick with smoke and fear. The mountains of Kuna province echoed with gunfire as Emma ran toward the valley. Every step she took was heavier than the last, but she didn't stop. The SEALs had saved her once, 2 years ago, in an ambush that almost cost her life. Now it was her turn. She crouched behind a rock, peering through the scope. 3 hostiles moved near a burning Humvee, dragging one of the SEALs out. She steadied her breath, aimed carefully, and pulled the trigger. One fell, then another. The third turned toward her, firing wildly. Bullets cracked through the air, kicking up dust near her face. She rolled to the side, gritting her teeth, and fired again. Silence. She sprinted forward, her boots splashing through the mud. The SEAL she had seen, Chief Daniels, lay motionless. She ripped open his vest, pressed her hand to his chest, and felt a faint heartbeat. You're not dying today, she whispered. A bullet struck the dirt beside her. She ducked, dragging Daniels behind a fallen log. Her training kicked in, pressure on the wound, bandage tight, keep him breathing. But her hands shook, adrenaline roaring in her veins. A voice came through her earpiece, faint but real. Hayes, that you? It was Captain Rowe, leader of the SEAL unit. Yes, sir. I've got Daniels. He's alive. I'm moving him out. Negative. Hostiles all around. Stay low. Extraction point Bravo in 20 minutes. 20 minutes. We don't have 20 minutes. Static. Silence again. She looked down at Daniels. His eyes opened, barely. You shouldn't be here, Doc. She smirked. You SEALs never listen to medical advice. He managed a weak grin. Guess I taught you well. She tightened the bandage, lifted his rifle, and scanned the ridge. More enemies were coming. 5, maybe 6. She loaded her last magazine. All right, Chief, she whispered. Let's give them hell. The firefight lit the night sky like a storm. Every muzzle flash painted Emma's face in orange light. She moved with precision, firing, reloading, moving again. Years of medical drills had given her calm under pressure, and now that calm saved her life. But she was running out of ammo. The last clip slid empty with a hollow click. She cursed under her breath and reached for Daniel's sidearm. 1 round left. 1. She waited. The sound of boots crunching in the dirt came closer. She steadied her breath. 1, 2. She fired. The man dropped. Then another voice. Deep, close, behind her. Don't move. She froze. Turned slowly. A tall enemy soldier aimed his rifle straight at her. His face was calm, eyes cold. You're far from base, medic, he said in broken English. Her mind raced. The pistol was empty. The rifle too. She had nothing, except the scalpel in her vest. He stepped closer, smirking. No one coming for you. She smiled faintly. You sure about that? A shot rang out. Not hers. The man collapsed. Emma turned. It was Captain Rowe, limping, covered in dust and blood. Thought you could start the party without us, he said, his voice rough but alive. She exhaled, a shaky laugh breaking through her tears. You took your time, sir. They lifted Daniels together, half carrying him toward the ridge. The extraction chopper's blades thundered in the distance, slicing through the smoky night. But the enemy wasn't done. Grenades exploded behind them. Shrapnel tore through the dirt. Emma stumbled but didn't stop. Her body screamed in pain, but her heart was steel. Go, she shouted. I'll cover you. Negative, Rowe barked. That's an order. I said go, she yelled. Get him out. Before he could argue, she turned and ran toward the line of fire. Her rifle was jammed, but she didn't care. She grabbed a fallen soldier's weapon, dug behind a burning jeep, and unleashed hell. The night swallowed her figure, a single silhouette against the firelight. When the chopper lifted off, Rowe looked down through the open ramp. He saw her, Emma Hayes, still fighting, her hair whipping in the wind, her body moving like a shadow in the flames. Then the radio cut off. Silence again. Hours later, as dawn broke over the valley, a patrol unit returned to the battlefield. Bodies everywhere, smoke rising. The world looked dead. And then, a sound. Faint. A groan. Medic down here, someone shouted. They found her under a collapsed wall, unconscious but breathing. Her hand still clutched the rifle, knuckles white. Next to her lay 3 enemy soldiers, all dead. She was airlifted out, barely alive. Weeks passed. The hospital room was quiet except for the steady beeping of a monitor. Emma opened her eyes slowly, the sunlight cutting through the blinds. Her arm was bandaged, her ribs bruised, but she was alive. Captain Rowe sat beside her bed, his uniform freshly pressed. You should have stayed at base, he said softly. She smiled weakly. And miss all the fun. He shook his head, chuckling. You disobeyed orders, Lieutenant. I saved lives, sir. That you did, he said, standing. You also reminded my men what real courage looks like. He placed something on her bedside table, a small, battered rifle tag, engraved with her name. Your weapon, he said. You dropped it when we found you. Thought you might want it back. She looked at it for a long time, eyes glistening. It wasn't the weapon that mattered, sir. He nodded. No, it was the hands that held it. Months later, when she returned to base, the SEALs stood waiting. Every man in uniform lined up as she walked past, medals shining, eyes respectful. Daniels, now fully recovered, saluted first. Permission to speak, ma'am? He asked. Granted. You saved us all, Lieutenant. You're one of us now. She blinked back tears. I'm just a medic, Chief. He smiled. Not anymore. They handed her a SEAL patch. Worn, faded, real. She took it with trembling hands, her throat tight. As the sun dipped behind the horizon, the team gathered in silence. No words, no speeches, just respect. The medic who became the warrior. The woman who refused to stay behind. The healer who fought when all others fell. Her story spread quietly through the ranks, not through medals or ceremony, but through whispers. In every base, in every unit, someone would say, remember Hayes. The medic who picked up the rifle. And they'd nod. Because some stories don't need glory. They just need to be remembered. And that's why, when you hear silence on the battlefield, it's not always fear. Sometimes it's respect. Sometimes it's the sound of heroes being born. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to States of History, where real stories of courage live forever.